Our reading this morning is the story of Jesus raising Lazarus from death, which appears in John's Gospel. It is interesting that the earliest Gospel, Mark, does not have a story of Jesus raising anyone from death. These particular miracle stories were added in the later accounts from Matthew, Luke, and John, and in each Gospel, the resurrections involve different people. There has been much speculation about why these raising the dead stories were added, but most scholars suggest they arose out of a crisis of faith that was growing with the mounting persecution of Christians 90 years after Jesus' death. They believed that Jesus promised eternal life, and yet they were dying in droves under the Roman Empire. It is important to hear this story not as a literal raising from physical death, but rather as John's way of saying that resurrection does not mean restoring life to a corpse. It entails instead a transformation of life. Moreover, the eternal life that Jesus offers his followers does not abolish death, but it transcends it. Love ultimately has power over death. Hear now this story, keeping in mind that we are being challenged to live into the fullness of our human life. Reading John 11, 1-44. Lazarus was ill, so the sisters, Mary and Martha, sent a message to Jesus. Lord, he whom you love is ill. But when Jesus heard it said, this illness does not lead to death, rather it is for God's glory. Though Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, after having heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. After 2 days, he said to his disciples, let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, the Jews were just now trying to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to awaken him. The disciples said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will be all right. Then Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus is dead. For your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. Thomas said to his fellow disciples, let us go also, so that we may die with him. When they arrived, he found that Lazarus was already been in the tomb 4 days. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out and met him while Mary stayed at home. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. She went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, the teacher is here and is calling for you. When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, see how he loved him. Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha said, Lord, already there is a stench, because he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. Jesus cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Thanks be to God. Thanks, Madeline.